Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. This is the Armed Citizen article in the American Hunter magazine for the month of October 2022. I want to go ahead and read it to you today because I'm in the mood. And there's a lot of great articles, by the way, in this series because you learn about different hunting techniques, different clothing, different places to travel to hunt, insider tips on hunting. It's quite amazing. And lots of resources for affordable educational courses. Now, for these ones, I really want you to think about how important it is for you to not be afraid of firearms, to own a firearm, to train, and to understand what kind of world you live in. And to not be a coward, naive worm who thinks that you're just a special boy who's going to be always protected and you'll never face any danger and that you'll just get on your knees for any criminal who wants to take advantage of you. No, you shouldn't have that. Second Amendment does not conflict with Sharia law because Sharia law does not ban firearms. Okay. When a masked would-be robber wielding a rifle entered a liquor store in Norco, California during the early morning hours of Sunday, July 31st, he probably thought he had the upper hand. The 80-year-old liquor store owner, however, was both attentive and prepared. Immediately responded to the attack with a shotgun blast. The robber ran out of the store screaming to his counterparts in and around a getaway car that the owner had shot his arm off. 4 suspects, including another armed man, who had gotten out of the SUV, jumped into the vehicle and fled. Now, I shared this story, the video of it when it happened. Total badass, that 80-year-old man. Just blasted those fools. And it's just so beautiful. I love seeing criminals get their justice right then and there. Now, arrest them and put them on community service and go really soft. No, they deserve the pain they inflict on others. And this 80-year-old guy, he suffered a heart attack later, but he survived, which is good. But I thought he was a just total legend. 80 years old. This guy who's 80 years old has more courage than some of these 22-year-old young Muslim red pill men who are afraid to use firearms, or even some liberal Muslims who I have seen comment where they're just so afraid of firearms. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. You know, where you have 80-year-old men who ain't afraid, handling their business, defending their property. I hope more Muslim men start becoming educated in their legal rights to own a firearm to protect their family and business. And the next one, a man in his 80s was reportedly out walking his dog in the early morning hours of June 5th in East Memphis, Tennessee, when he spotted 3 men exit a vehicle and run toward his neighbor's home. The man asked the 3 what they were doing, and the suspects, reportedly, began shooting at him. He returned fire, striking at least one of the men. Officers found the wounded man and another man at the scene when they arrived, one of whom admitted they were breaking into vehicles and robbing them. So, what's awesome about this is that's a good neighbor, man. He's an 80-year-old guy walking his dog, has a concealed carry permit, has the Second Amendment, and he put a cap in one of these dudes because they were robbing and breaking into vehicles. That's a good neighbor. That's a good community watch. Police wasn't there. And you may be a coward and say, well, just let the criminals steal. Just let the criminals do whatever they want. And, you know, no one should ever confront them. This man literally risked getting a bullet to help his neighbor's property. It's a pretty epic legend. Pretty epic. So what did you notice here? In the first story, you have an 80-year-old liquor store owner blasting criminals. And now you have an 80-year-old man who's walking his dog blasting criminals. So, young men today have no excuse. It's easy to play video games and think you're a legend, or to troll online, or to listen to Red Pill and think that you're going to be some high value man with 4 wives, but you don't even know how to use a firearm. This is something detestable. These old men, though, they're handling their business all by themselves, and they don't let criminals intimidate them. Epic legends. A gas station clerk in Belmont, Texas, called 911 near midnight on July 22nd after a man entered the store, threatening her with a knife, and robbed her. While the police were on their way, however, the robber apparently proceeded to attack the clerk, who defended herself by firing several shots at him. So what do you notice here? A woman, alone, was able to blast a criminal. So some Red Pill Muslims think women are too stupid, too emotional, that they can't handle a firearm, and that they turn into masculine She-Hulks if they use a firearm to defend themselves. Rather, I'll tell you that if you're gonna go to work, which, yes, some women have to work, you need to know how to defend yourself. And gas station jobs are very precarious, and sometimes, women, they feel like that's the only job they can get. We can't tell everyone what kind of job to have in certain situations. You shouldn't sell alcohol, you shouldn't sell cigarettes or gambling cards. And she's not a Muslim, so we cannot be too harsh on her. She has a right, though, regardless of the place she works, to have lethal force to defend herself. Notice, she called 911. The police couldn't get there in time. She had to handle business herself. She had to be brave, competent, and aim correctly, and know how to use it. She's a legend. Good on her. Total badass. The next one. This one was really hit home because I have family in Utah, and I grew up partly in Utah. A man was sitting on a bench on a train platform in Salt Lake City, Utah, around 10 p.m. on July 2nd, when 2 other men aggressively approached him. Video camera feeds show the armed citizen pointing his firearm at the men and repeatedly telling them to stop, even backing up several feet. But the aggressors increased their speed towards him. Fearing for his life, the man shot the 2 men, one of whom was killed and one of whom was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Now, they noted a woman had been stabbed there 16 times earlier while she was buying a train ticket. Let me tell you something. You were just waiting for the train, waiting to buy a ticket, and thugs show up. It's 10 o'clock at night. You shouldn't be on the train at night, but some people have to commute. You gotta travel. You ain't got no choice. But Utah, the state of Utah, a Republican, highly Christian state, allowed people to have the right to carry a firearm, and it saved his life by the permission of Allah. He was not a coward. He had it ready. He knew how to use it. He warned them, busted a cap in them, and he sent one to the grave, which is beautiful. So, what are you learning here? A gas station worker, a man walking his dog, a liquor store owner, okay? You see these people are living their lives, and crime shows up. So it doesn't matter how much you bend your head and get on your knees for criminals and say, I'm so special to Allah, no one's ever gonna hurt me, I should just take it. Sure, you want to be a turkey, you want to just be a carpet, go ahead. But don't you dare demand that other people, including Muslims, don't have a right to self-defense tools. And that's why defending the Second Amendment is important, and why criminals have a harder time conducting crime willy-nilly, scot-free, when they encounter people who know how to exercise their God-given right to self-defense, which is also defended by secular law, and the Sharia does not ban the use of firearms, period. Point in case. In Indianapolis, Indiana, a man defended himself from an armed robber in the early hours of Friday July 29th. The home had been broken into earlier in the week and robbed of several thousands of dollars worth of electronic equipment. So the homeowner was immediately on alert when he heard someone break through a side window. He came downstairs to check on the situation and encountered an intruder armed with a knife, who threw a video game system at him. The homeowner responded to the attack by shooting at the robber, who ran upstairs and the other died in the bedroom. Good. This is the second time this homeowner had to defend himself in his home. And so he has a statement here. You shouldn't have to be armed inside of your own house, the homeowner told the news reporter. It's sad, but it is like that. He's right. But notice, he had his home robbed when he wasn't there. They stole a lot. They came back for a second hit, but this time he sent one of them back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is beautiful. The guy deserves it. If you want to break into your people's houses, you should face lethal force. If you broke into a politician's home, they would want their armed security to take you out. But any liberal politician who says that citizens, us peasants, right, us peons, don't have a right to defend ourselves, and then they use every drugged up school shooter to try to take away our rights, while simultaneously defending thug culture and saying there's no harm in it through their music and whatnot. It's absurd. It's absurd. This guy was at home in the early morning hours, and someone tried to come in and harm somebody. Early in the morning on Sunday, August 7th, a package delivery driver in Middletown, Ohio, said he saw a man strolling toward him. But the man suddenly ran toward him with a knife in hand, yelling, "Knife fight! Knife fight! Knife fight!" The delivery driver had a firearm in his pocket and shot the assailant in the leg. The knife-wielding man ran off, but was detained by police shortly afterwards. They took him to the hospital. The assailant, whom the police reportedly suspected of being on drugs, was facing charges of felony assault. The armed citizen was not expected to face any charges. So, another drug addict attacking someone while they're hallucinating on drugs. Liberals want to legalize, tax, and regulate all drugs. So, people would not be punished for smoking meth in public, for smoking meth in a room and then leaving. The more drug use you allow in society, the more incidents of crazy people attacking innocent people will occur. So, liberals want to defund police, which means less response time, take away your gun rights to self-defense through incremental banning, and then want to have drugs everywhere, and they think that's a good recipe for society. It isn't. You have a right to defend yourself against anybody. Against anybody. A delivery driver, someone waiting to take the train, a gas station clerk, a man out walking his dog, a liquor store owner. These are just common places. And don't tell me, oh, in my country it's so utopia, no crime happens. Rather, it's not as well documented, so you don't hear about it as much. That's how people think they have less crime, is because they don't write articles and focus on it as much. They focus on other things. Doesn't mean crime doesn't happen. But gun rights, self-defense, is a human right. Learn to train, okay? If you want to read more, you can also go to the Armed Citizen blog, which is AmericanRifleman.org. It's very educational. If you want to share the article, you just go to NRAPublications.org. You can share it on social media. This book, this time has a lot of magazine, has a lot of great articles. Here's one, backpacking, hunting techniques. They also have just great tips for people on what type of fowl to hunt. You learn a lot in these. I really enjoy reading them because they kind of show you how much you don't know. And for the vegan liberals who are afraid of meat and think you should eat tofu and just die, and swallow a bunch of artificial pills. When you read these types of stuff, you become more aware of how insane liberal vegan atheists are, and you become more empowered with knowledge. You become more aware, and you start to appreciate the fact that we have the ability to hunt, we have the ability to eat meat, we have the ability to protect our homes and our property with firearms, and to be able to go hunting with firearms as well. Liberals want to take away all that from you. An easy slave. They want to dominate you and totally control your life. Take charge of your life. Educate yourself. You can get around a lot of great women who are very awesome people for the ladies. And let me show you one. So, here's one. Training. Refuse.nra.org. NRAinstructors.org, which is this. The NRA's Refuse to be a Victim program provides information on crime prevention and personal safety. To learn more about the program, visit refuse.nra.org. The most up-to-date seminar and instructor training schedule is available on the internet by visiting nrainstructors.org, or online training is available at nraonlinetraining.org. Questions, email to refuse@nrahq.org, or by calling 1-800-861-1166. There's tons of great programs here where you can meet like-minded people. There's a lot of cool Christians, a lot of cool people there. You might not see any Muslims, but you never know, you might see me there. But they have all kinds of great programs. Utilize your right before liberals take it away. Justin Trudeau of Canada doesn't even want you to have a firearm. These liberals just want you to be afraid slaves to the state who can't even have a backbone to defend their family from criminals. Criminals will always buy weapons on the black market. It's not hard. And the American border is open, and cartels are constantly selling weapons all the time illegally. The Second Amendment allows law-abiding citizens who have no criminal record to purchase professional, well-made firearms. Educate yourself, join a group, join a club, don't be a slave. Anyone who lies to you and tell you that the Sharia doesn't allow people to have firearms is a really dumb individual. Allah never said you had to be a slave to criminals. The Prophet, peace be upon him, they had sword. He told you to train with arrows, horseback riding. The modern day version of that is firearms. Okay? Be responsible, get educated, get trained, meet some great people, have a relaxing hobby, learn how to hunt, learn how to fish. Life is great. Have a good day.